Whoop. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Game Aim Plus, where my aiming is gaming. I'm your host, the boy G, and we gonna talk about it. Let's talk about it. All right, in this video, we are gonna talk about I don't like Nintendo anymore. Yeah, you heard me. I said it right. I do not like Nintendo anymore. I don't like their decisions, their choices, the things that they do. And don't get it twisted, okay? Because I still love Nintendo. Yes, I love Nintendo. I just don't like them anymore. All right? I will explain. Okay, you're probably like, oh, how can you love them but not like them, and not like them but love them? They don't make no sense. It makes sense. All right? You ever have that family member that, hey, they're your family member, right? You can't help but love them, right? You love them. But maybe you just don't mess with them. Maybe they do some things you ain't with. You know what I'm saying? You won't like it. So, or, you don't like them. But that's fine. You can not like a family member, but you still love them. That's how I feel about Nintendo right now. I love them. I just don't like them. All right? And the reason I don't like them is because it's crazy how I'm so late on this, and I just found out like how much scummy things Nintendo does, and they still do and have done and continue to do. And I don't like it. It puts a bad taste in my mouth, and I don't like the way they are. Everything now with how much the Switch is costing, how much they're starting to charge for their games, their accessories, charging for a button that is on your Nintendo Switch 2. Like, we literally have to pay for a button that's on our controller or it will not work. All right. Just a lot of things that they do, the fact that all their games, even old games that have been out since the Switch has since it started, the games are still the same exact price. They do not go down ever. All right, Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, Super Smash Bros, any Pokemon game, Donkey Kong, Kirby, just every game, like Animal Crossing, they keep their games at the same price. $60, $60, $60, $60. All right, Splatoon 2, Splatoon 3, $60, $60, which makes no sense. All right, all the things they do with all the copyright stuff they do to YouTubers and other content creators, like we can't share a trailer, we can't put footage of their games in our videos. You know what I'm saying? We can't even conduct the Super Smash Bros tournament without them shutting it down because it's not run by them. Like, Nintendo is ridiculous, okay? And it don't even get me started with like the Pokemon things. I know Pokemon is their own separate company, but still they get they get fundings and help and everything from Nintendo. And Nintendo, I know they run a lot of things with the whole Pokemon company and Game Freak, and not giving them time to develop games, and they keep putting out the same sloppy Pokemon games, not putting their full potential, their full work, their full everything, heart and soul into these games to the potential, to the extent that they would like to actually create a Pokemon game that will actually blow people's minds. Basically a Pokemon game that's like Palworld, all right? And that is another reason also, like Nintendo going after Palworld and their game, because they basically made a better Pokemon game than them. All right, that's what they're mad about, okay? All right, they're mad that this game is better than their Pokemon game and that it's selling a lot. It was actually a success, and it's still going. And there's other games that are just like Pokemon, that have come out in the past, like example, Bakugan. They're little creatures that come out of the little ball that you throw or whatever. But Nintendo doesn't care about Bakugan because Bakugan sucks. Nobody cares about Bakugan. Nobody cares. It doesn't sell. Nobody gives a crap about it. But this Palworld thing that is getting in the way of Pokemon and is showing Pokemon, like it's taking the limelight away from Pokemon, and Nintendo does not like that. So now they are eating away at Palworld, with all these different civil suit. They're suing them. They have a lawsuit on them. Oh, you have Pokeballs too. You do what we do. You glide on your Pokemon, your pals. You do this. You do that. The same as Pokemon. All right. And Nintendo is slowly killing off Palworld, because now Palworld has to adjust their games of, how they capture Pokemon, how they get released, how do they ride them. Now they can't ride them. Now they got to use a glider. Now they do this. Now they got to take this out. Now they got to take this out of the game. So the game is slowly dying. Fans are slowly starting to hate the game and dislike the game because of what Nintendo is doing. All right, because Nintendo is focusing so much. You know what they did on Palworld? You know what Nintendo needs to do? Don't worry about what Palworld's doing. All right, whatever. Why don't you actually take some tips instead of being a hater, getting mad, and start sending your little Nintendo ninjas after them? All right, that's what Nintendo needs to do. All right, and Nintendo has a whole bunch of other lawsuits like they have on other companies and other people. The Nintendo actually tried to sue a grocery store that's I forget where it's at. All right, it's like a grocery store somewhere in some Spanish state or somewhere. I forget where, but the grocery store is called Super Mario. Okay. Nintendo didn't like that, so they went to go sue this grocery store. Mind you, Nintendo lost this whole lawsuit, whatever they had against them. They lost. The grocery store won. All right, it was called Super Mario because super for a super grocery store, and Mario because the guy that owns the grocery store is named Mario. So obviously he's going to name the store after his name, and super because of a supermarket, a grocery supermarket. Super Mario. All right, Nintendo lost. All right, to this little company. They should have just let them alone. All right, and just Nintendo has been doing a lot, and they've been doing a lot for years. Okay, this isn't just starting. This is just me catching on to all of the scummy and weird, crazy things that Nintendo does. And I'm just catching on to it now, and it's just getting worse now that we have Doug Bowser as the lead of the president of America of Nintendo. That he's not making anything any better. All right, I miss Reggie. I miss Iwata. I miss all those people that were taking over and were running Nintendo before. All right, but even then, Nintendo was still doing some scummy things. And everything, even with the Nintendo Switch and the Joy-Con drift, in which they have not changed it. They didn't really address it. Because they have a whole bunch of lawsuits with that going on with the whole Joy-Con drift, because they don't want to switch their Joy-Con. They don't want to switch how the joystick is some different mechanic or in there. They don't want to switch it. They want to keep it how it is. And it might be the same thing with the Nintendo Switch too. And hopefully it's not. All right, that would really suck. But I don't like all the things that Nintendo does. There's a lot of things there's a lot of things that I love that they do, and there's a lot of things that I hate. And and I'm not the only one, and there's so many other people, and I had to get myself out of that whole Nintendo fanboy, bubble. All right, I had to step out of that and start to realize everything that is going on. It's not cool. The way Nintendo runs everything and what they're doing, a lot of things I don't like it. I really don't. Like the whole game chat or voice chat thing on the Switch 2, you guys should just make it free. Or some type of little plan that makes just that free for certain games or something, because now you're going to have a button on a controller that we're going to have to pay for. And if we don't pay for the Nintendo Switch Online Service Expansion Pack, blah, 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 that button will not even be clickable, workable, or nothing on your controller. And that's weird to have a button on your controller that does not work. All right. Nintendo does a lot of bad things, and I don't like it. But I can't help that I love them. And it sucks because that's what most of my channel is based on. All right, my channel is based on nothing but 95% Nintendo content. That's what I do. Now, am I going to stop supporting Nintendo? No. Am I going to stop buying Nintendo games? No. Am I, going to stop making, Nintendo videos and stuff? No. I'm not going, no. Now, I will be very careful now of what games I actually buy. Because before, just about every new main Nintendo game that would come out for the Switch, I would go and buy it. I would go and buy it. I would go and buy it. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm not going to do that because of how they run their gamings, how they think games should be priced now, and all of this other stuff. And I don't like, I ain't got money to be paying no $70, $80, $90 for no games, all right? I mean, people got bills, kids, groceries, car payments, gas, we gotta pay. There's things we gotta pay for, man. Clothes, don't even get me started, bro. Stuff for the house, this, that. I could go on a rant for that, and it's crazy when there's a $89, $90 game, and we're gonna have to choose between this $80 or $90 game, or use this $89 for groceries, or for food, or for, you know what I'm saying? Guess what, man? Food is gonna win, bro. And it's sad, and I don't like it. And I know I keep saying that. But I really don't. I don't like it. It's really bad, man. And I don't know. I really want Nintendo to change, and they're not gonna change. I really don't think they are. They're going to be the ones that are going to ruin gaming, and it's gonna cause the whole gaming industry to go into another crash, where we're basically gonna have to build up, all the way back from the beginning and start over from scratch, because the success of the Switch is giving Nintendo like a really, really big head right now. Okay, they are really gassed up. Okay, they think they're the bomb diggity. Nothing can touch them. They can do whatever they want, and we're gonna do and follow them and support no matter what, and buy anything they sell and put out there. And a lot of us fans will, but I will not be one of them fans anymore. Okay, I'm not going to buy just about every single game that you guys put out, main game for the Nintendo Switch 2. I'm not going to. No, I'm going to pick and choose. All right, which one is it really worth for me to put my money on? What I think the game is valued to be. Okay, not what you guys think is valued to be. All right, that's not how that works. Okay, you guys are being ridiculous, and no. So now I'm going to choose very wisely. That's why I even started a podcast on my channel, so that way I can start to talk about other things that are part of entertainment, like any like cartoons, movies, TV shows, animes, whatever, that kind of stuff. So that way I'm able to stray and go talk about other things besides just Nintendo, because I just don't like what they're doing, And I don't know, man. And I think it's because since like the competition is pretty much gone. Like none of these consoles or none of these other gaming companies are competing. They're not competing anymore. Everybody's just doing their own thing. Nobody cares what anybody's doing anymore. Xbox is doing their own thing. PlayStation is doing their own thing. Nintendo is obviously going to have already been doing their own thing. All right. Sega, sadly, is gone. They already got destroyed and kicked out of the competition, and that really sucked. Atari's been gone. Google tried to make their own gaming console, and that failed. That came and gone. That came and went really fast. So it's like, Nintendo feel like they can just do whatever they want. Now we got this new Nintendo Switch coming out with better graphics, better this, better that, whatever. It's still not, as powerful as a PlayStation 5 Pro, but it's going to be a great console, with really good graphics. And, I feel like it's going to get worse. And I honestly don't think the Nintendo Switch 2 is not going to do as good as the Nintendo Switch. It's not. It's gonna get stuck with that whole curse of, the first system comes out and it's a phenomenon, and then the follow-up system that comes after as a successor doesn't do as good as the original did, and I feel like that's the same thing that's gonna happen with the Nintendo Switch 2. It happened in the past. It happened with like Nintendo 64 doing really, really, really good, and then the GameCube not doing as good. The Wii doing absolutely phenomenal, and then the Wii U not doing so well. So the DS did really good. And the 3DS did really good as well too. But I don't think it sold as much as the DS did. Then Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, I believe, and then it just etc. It just goes like that. You know what I'm saying? The same thing happened with PlayStation, though, and the same thing happened with Xbox. You know what I'm saying? So with their consoles, like, that's just usually what happens. So, and Nintendo is gonna make it happen again by charging so much for the Nintendo Switch, which it does not need to be charged that much. $450 is ridiculous, but it is what it is. When there's a Japan version and it's $350, but whatever. I don't want to hear no tariffs things, because it has nothing to do with tariffs. It ain't got nothing to do with that. All right. So no, and the fact that their digital games. It's bad enough their physical games don't ever go down, but their digital games don't even go down in price ever. Oh, they have sales and stuff. Yeah, sales every few months, and it goes down a little bit by like 20%, 30%, and then it bumps right back up to $60. All right, PlayStation, they have a game that it'll be $60, $70 for a while, and then boom, 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 they sell whatever they got to sell, then they drop it down to like $20, $30. That's awesome. I love that PlayStation does that. Okay, I really do. I love that they do that. I wish Nintendo would do that. Okay. But they don't. They don't do that anymore, sadly. They just keep their games at what it is now, because they know us and the fans, people, that we're just gonna buy it. But I'm not anymore. Okay? I guess I'm gonna just have to catch your game on a sale or something, or it has to be a game that I really, 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 really want, and then I'll buy it. Depends on how my life is going, how my money is at the time, and yeah. But yeah, I don't like Nintendo anymore. I do not like them, but I still do love them. But yeah, I don't know. that's all I pretty much have to say, guys. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think about this, what I'm saying about Nintendo and all the things that they do and what they don't do and etc. Yeah, tell me, I don't know. You guys let me know your feelings about all of this. Put in the comments. Talk to your boy and let's chitty chat. But yeah, there you go, guys. Game Aim Plus. Please subscribe. Click that little bell button. That way, every time I upload a new video, it'll pop up on your phone. Like, you feel me, dog? You feel me? But yeah, y'all have a great morning, afternoon, night, whatever it is, wherever you're at. And I'll catch you in the next one. Booyah! Woo!